Happy Tuesday. Welcome for being, I'm so glad you're here. I'm Cathy Freeman with Cathy Freeman Art, and I'm going to get started on my art journal today. I'm actually in the process of writing something right now as I'm preparing to put this together that comes from, let's see, where did it go? It comes from the Creative Reminders. There we go. That I have for my members. Sorry about that. My brain stopped for a second. Does it ever happen to you? Anyway, I want to finish writing that for a minute while I'm waiting for a few people to pop on here and get ready to work on my art journal. Okay, so I started. I feel the magnificence of each new day, knowing that I am, and I'm using this as a template underneath so that my lines will be straight. Knowing that I am called to walk in integrity our dots on our eyes, and see, lift that up just a little bit, and reflect this is the important part, God's goodness in all. Let's start another line. Perfect. All right. I just wanted to get that copied off and ready to go. What I decided to do today, I was just thinking, what did I want to do in my journal? And so I actually pulled out, this is an old book that I've had that when I first started, I started working in this as an art journal and just putting things in, creating art in it. And what I do in here mostly is I do a lot of collage. And I was drawn to this today. This one was super fun. Oops, get that under the camera. There we go. Yes, this is actually modeling. It's a modeling paste that's put on, and it's created that texture, which makes it so fun. And then the colors with the white flowers outlined. So this is what I pulled this up, and I thought, oh, I really want to work on this today. So I've gone ahead and let's see what these are the last couple of pages. I haven't really worked in here in a long time. So I've gone ahead and I put some gesso on the pages. Let me slide this over. And I'm going to put this to a full screen so that you can see it. Now that I've welcomed you, I'm going to cut this out so I have it ready as I need it. What I did is this is the non-waxed butcher paper. And I went ahead and wrote on it so that I can glue it straight down into the book. And I was feeling that, with all that has gone on these last, week and a half, 2 weeks now, so much. And a lot happening. That collage is a great way to be able to kind of get some of those feelings out, or just to connect to what it is in the direction that you want to go. Welcome. I'm glad. Hi, Joni. It's good you're here. I'm going to go ahead and just go to one. Let's see. Let me pull this up. See if I can do this right. I don't think I will. There we go. I'm just going to go to one page, and then you can watch as we go along. pull this down, get this out. So what I did is I went through a magazine that I just picked up and this past weekend and pulled out things that kind of sang to me. And actually some of the things were words and hold on here. We've got a little mishap with the camera. There we go. And the lighting. Oh, so much better. There we go. Perfect. All right. These are words that I found in the magazine and just things that stuck out to me. First, I saw this transforming lives and next chapter, just different stuff. So I'm going to use those. I also, this was probably the first image that I found and I just fell in love with that. Is that not the cutest little, happiest little face? And so I thought, okay, I'm going to use that in my art. And in the magazine, it had this famous art piece. And so I cut it out and I'm going to put that in. And, you know, as you go through and you look at images, this one sang to me. This one spoke to me. Kind of that look that she has, that she's pondering and she's thinking. And I thought, this is perfect. So let's start. And I'm going to start with, like I said, I've already gessoed. So I'm going to grab my matte gel and start adding these. And let's just layer. I don't know exactly how it's going to turn out. I don't know the direction it's going to go. But that's going to be the fun part. Is adding these in and just letting it develop and grow as it wants to. And really what's on my mind is just so much. I'd received a text from a sweet, sweet friend of mine. I don't live close to her anymore. Miss her a lot. Haven't talked to her in a while. And she was just commenting about what's my thoughts on what's going on right now. And I was like, I think this is a phone call conversation, not a text. And so it got my mind thinking a little bit about that. And I thought there is a lot going on. And where do we turn for that peace and that comfort? I know where I turn. I turn to the Savior. And find that peace through that understanding and that closeness that I have with him. So I wanted to reflect that in this book in what I'm going to create today. And I was just thinking about the word love. And I thought, oh, I'd like to find that in the magazine as I was pouring through. But this was actually a design magazine for homes. And so it didn't have anything in there that was focused on that. It just had images of interiors. So we're going to make our own. Do I have enough? It does not have enough sticky. It's been a long time since I've actually collaged. I've really just put a lot of my heart and soul into watercolors and acrylics lately. And so it's kind of nice to get back into it, isn't it? This can slide over a little bit. And I don't have my gloves. I like to use gloves because it really starts sticking to you. And I tend to use my fingers with everything I do. Joni, do you like the last couple of weeks have been heavy? Yes, that's why we're going to just kind of pour that into the book and lift ourselves out of that, right? Let some of that just kind of go away. Do you like to collage, Joni? Is that something? I don't do it often enough, probably, but okay, so we've got that little guy down there. Let's put that here. Stick that on. What a sweet smile this little baby girl has. Place that on. Spread that out. And when you do magazines, images and that, you have to be careful not to press too hard because you'll actually just rip that. And I've learned this from experience. I was getting carried away with trying to straighten something out. So the little bubbles and bumps don't bother me anymore. I may press on it to try to get it out, but don't try to rub it too hard because you will just totally ruin that. Let's place her in here. She is adorable. Such a happy little face. Of course, when it dries, it'll be great. You'll see it clearly. Oopsie. Put that down and it's lifting up part of that. That's all right. And it's probably good for me to stop and dry because once you start getting a lot of layers on and you're not getting the unders dried, it takes forever. Before we do that, I'm going to grab my gesso. And then apply that right in there. So when I dry, I'll be drying this also. The gesso, I use it because you get rid of that definite, this is where it ends, this is where it starts. Lines can blend things a lot easier. All right. I'm going to take that right now and let's dry it. Let's take a second and dry it. And I will look at these comments while it's drying so that I don't miss wonderful comments. Got to wash my fingers before they get all sticky, which they already are. Like I said, gloves are your best friend when you're doing collage like this, if you use your fingers. Okay. Do they call it a glue book? You've been watching a lot of collage, huh? That's interesting. Hi, Sue. It's all right, Sue. I think we just barely started. You're not late. Sue's one of our members, my art sisters. I told them I'm doing we're going to call it a glues book, huh? I'm working in one of my journals. It's an old book. And working on a collage today. Kind of hold it back. I don't want to get it too hot, but I do want to dry it. I'm just laying things out, kind of pre-planning. Sue loves to see collage. I want to do more of it. Okay. The little baby is still sticky. So we'll just let it kind of the sit and work on that. Okay, scissors. Where did I put you? There you are. So one thing about collage is your desk, it's your workstation or work area. It's extremely full. This picture drew, my eye was drawn to it because I love the light. It's a window, and the light's reflecting through the glass, and I was drawn to that. I just thought, oh, I really like. So I'm going to just kind of do a, I don't want to cover her face. But I do want this image close to her face, this image of light. And this has a really wonderful little image of an orchid down here. I don't know, we might just place that down there for the fun of it. The adhesive. I find that collage is such a journey for me. I never know what exactly, when you're doing an art piece, or I give you in my, classes, it's a journey trying to decide what to create. But once we've got the pattern or we've got the direction, we're just adding our own special touches to it. But when you start doing a collage, you really, for me, I have to let go of that need to control, just like watercolor. That's the beauty of watercolors. I like to let go of control on that. There we go. Should we place that there? Can you even see what I'm doing? Place it there. With a little bit, I love how those colors, the purple and the green, play off of each other. But they're also close to her on this side too. What do you think? What about there? Yay, nay? And I'm going to get rid of that sharp point and make a curved line. I'm still playing with it. That's one thing too, is you got to figure out what feels right. Maybe up there. Any thoughts? On the right. Okay, this is my left. This is my right. Okay, so I think, Sue, you're saying over here. Correct, Amundo? That feel right? Thumbs up? I'm not going to place it until I see a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Here's another piece, and I'm going to rip this because ripping a lot nicer at times. Get rid of some of the harsh edges. I cut it out. What this is it's the fabric. Yes, like it is there. Okay, perfect. I'll put it down. This was a sofa in the magazine, and I loved the fabric. I thought, oh, I love all those colors that's in that. So that's what that is. Let's just get busy and place these on. Okay. See, we don't want to cover up the little gal. I'm going to go to the top corner. Bring our eye up to that top left corner, and this will do it. Okay, I think I'm through with some of those. Is there anything else to add here? Maybe a little piece of this coming down. This is what I ripped off. It's got a nice, crisp, sharp edge, which I love to use on the edge of the paper anyway. Saves me from cutting at the end. Okay. Let's do a little bit of drying to this. I need to wet my fingers. Clean them off. There, it should dry naturally by itself. I had an art friend tell me one time, instead of trying to wash this matte gel off when you're using a rubber spatula, just let it dry and then you can peel it off. It peels off really nicely. So I was like, oh, I like that. So we'll set that to the side. Now, the next step is to kind of bring unity to it so that it's not all just hodgepodge, right? And I can use my gesso to do that, or I could use some paint. I'm going to start with the gesso. And place that on. Go right around those lilies. Whoops. I want to preserve that one. Kind of make it so it's like it's flowing, a little cloudy. And I want to keep the sharpness of her face. So you start deciding what areas and throw in any tips. I'm not the collage expert here, but I just do what comes to my mind. So if there's something that you've learned, or you know that you've, like you've said, several of you have been watching collage lately, throw it in. Let's see. But typically my steps when I've always done this is I'll put down the images and then I start kind of cutting away at what's going to be the focal points, what's going to. Okay. Let's see, where are my. This is actually a wonderful thing to use our Neo 2s on. Am I off the thing? No, good. I'm just coloring this in right here. I have the purple lavender down here. I'm bringing it up here also. And now I'm going to use my gesso to spread it out, to smooth it. Bring that color down a little bit. Blend it. All right, so you've seen where I've just kind of played as I've gone around this. Get that off of there. And I want a yellow because it's a complement. So I'm going to add touches of yellow in here. Let's see what happens. All right, you could use water. Let's try that. Just popped in my head. Why don't we just try a little water first before we put the gesso and spread it like that? You have a little bit more control. Where it goes, but I do love that mixing of gesso and the crayons and the Neo 2s. So I'm going to use it. Leaving some bright whites, that contrast. Yes, water does work. You could use that. You'd have to be careful because of the paper, the the newsprint kind of thing. So you don't want to get it too saturated, obviously. But you could. I do love how it with the Neo 2s, it just makes them creamy and the way it moves them. Okay, where am I at? Let's see. It looks like gesso gives a smoother look. Yes. I'm in the middle of doing a live right now. Someone's popping at my door. There we go. Okay, and we've got this yellow right here. You know what? I'm going to bring it down over her coat. Because I love her coat. I love the style of it. I love the color of it. But I want her face to be what, we see mostly. Okay. And this is a project too that you could work a little bit on and then walk away from it and then come back to it, days later or whatever and say, I'm going to change this. I'm going to add this. So it's not something that you have to, one and done, get it done right away. I've got to get this off my fingers. I'm sorry. So even though I've worked on my background here, I don't know that I would call it, sometimes you just have that feeling of like, yes, that's complete. That's exactly the way I like it. Isn't that pretty the way the white and the light shines? I think I need that there. Okay, I'm going to take off use my fingers and get rid of that sharp edge. It's a small piece, so there's not a lot here to glue down. I think what I was sensing is this is so dark and that your eye goes right to it. It just pulls you to it. So I want to add some lightness to this. Yes. Give some highlights. And glue this down. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that very well, but it does. It just kind of lightens that up a little bit more right there and kind of pulls it together. Maybe that's what I needed. It feels better at least. Now, before I get too carried away with putting on a lot of gesso and covering things up, I am going to start laying down the words because I don't want to lose that, and you can very easily. So I put that there. Let's see, is this where? Here at the top. It's not glued down, so we can move it around. Got that one. Echoes of Beauty, softly reclaimed. I liked this one. I like that statement. I'll put that there. And I love this one, Transforming Lives. It's awfully long. Probably goes right there. What do you think? The baby looks shinier than everything else. Is this just your lighting? It is, and it is shinier because it's got I put the matte medium on top of the baby, and I did not put it on top of her. So you're getting a reflection of that lighting hitting it. Can you see that a little differently? Yeah. I can put over that, I could put actually what I can put, and do I have it here? I do have some gesso that's clear, and that's what I'll come back and do. I just don't have it right here with me in this space, but that's what you would put over when you're putting this. You would put that clear gesso on it. It will give it a little bit of a tooth so that things would stick to it, and it does get rid of that sheen. Do I see it? Let's look. Ah, aha. You just ask and it's there. Okay. I haven't used this in a long time either. It's kind of fun. It's like, meeting back up with old friends, isn't it? Okay. So I'm going to paint this right over a little baby. It's going to have to dry. Does take away some of that sheen, but I do have two lights hitting on this one real dark. I mean, real intensely. Okay. So that will help. So while that's doing that, let's go ahead and I've got my, put that up. Don't want to lose it. My matte gel out. Go ahead and finish up with our words. I know I want this one here. This is exactly where this one feels like it needs to be. Not too sure about that one quite yet. So I usually just work around something until I get that feeling of like that's where it belongs. Echoes of Beauty, softly reclaiming. And then cut that off straighter. Let's see if I can get this down. To be careful because my fingers are sticking to it. So you've got to be a little careful that you're not, I mean, the magazines will rip right away. No question about that. Okay, Transforming Lives. Is there anything else? The Quiet Imperfections. I like that word too. Making the room rooted. What else do I have here? Okay. I've got my little statement. You feel it in, let's put that over here, in the quiet imperfection. I need another the. Okay, that goes there. This is the fun part. Just like a little puzzle. The quiet imperfections. I love that. You want it there? Why not? Whoopsie. To get a little more underneath. There we go. And then this little baby. I think it's going to actually kind of blend into it. There we go. I'm going to put it there. So to do that, what I'll do is I will put this down here first. Go across. And this is what I looked up. So if you're wondering, this came out of our Creative Reminders, number 468 in our Creative Reminders library. I feel the magnificence of each new day, knowing that I'm called to walk in integrity and reflect God's goodness in all that I do. Okay, and there. Now, is it totally complete? I'm not sure if it is totally complete. I think I've got a little more I want to do to it, but it is complete for right now because it needs to dry and then just sit, and I can come back to it and see what I feel about it and what I want to say more to it, how I want to decorate it. Anyhow, so that is, thank you for coming on this journey with me today as we experimented and we worked in my art journal and creating a collage. And as I work more on that, I'll be posting the picture up there and you'll see, just as you have with the other ones, the final product of what I've got. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining in today and being here. I really appreciate that. Let me come back on here. There we go. I'm so grateful that you've been here with me, and I will post this when it's completed. This is Cathy Freeman with Cathy Freeman Art, and I will see you again next week. Thanks.